Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. This looks close to a bingo, but I can't see one. Through an A I would have infernal. Now, the F is my scoring tile. I can't see a way of getting that on one of the double letter squares and playing off the U. So, I think I will play fun. I could have played final, but that would have retained the U, and I would like to get rid of that at this stage of the game. That's good. I have leaping, peeling, and pleeing. And I think none of those take an S. And if any of them does, it's leaping. Now my opponent plays diff, which only takes an F and an S after it. So, do any of my bingos play? Fund takes an I after it. That doesn't help. Nothing plays in column 11, beginning next to the I. Well, I don't think I can play my 7-letter bingo. Do I have an 8 through any of the floaters? I can't see anything through the F. What about the U? Nothing is coming to mind. The F doesn't look... Well, the F just duplicates what's already available, and then there's the I of diff. Well, how frustrating. I wasn't expecting the board to be blocked so early. Now, I'm looking at playing parallel to diff to get score, including placing my I here. So what have I got? Either my A or my E could go next to the F. It would be nice to play off the G. So the N has to go next to the I. So, what else do I need here? It needs to be 2 more letters long. How frustrating. I thought I would have a choice of options. Well, I could play Alpine and get it doubled at the top. Alpine does take an S, I think. So it's not ideal, but 32 points is a good score. Well, if I have Alpine, I certainly have Pineal. 32. Pretty awful, but I was drawing 6 random tiles. I've got 4 high-scoring tiles and a couple of vowels, so I should be able to play my way through this. I'm just a long way from a bingo. And the board doesn't have a lot of scoring opportunities. Fundi takes an E and an S after it and a C. I don't have any of those. So I'd like to split up the duplicate Y. And I note that one of my Ys can go underneath the F of Fundy. So I could just play Chi in that spot. That doesn't provide much for my opponent. What about Yoki? Is that good? I'm not confident about that. 25 points is not a great score. Column 13 is another possibility. beginning next to LO. So Loy is good. So I could play Yok in that spot. But that opens up row O. Now, what about column 12 for plays ending in O? Nothing great there. Okay, I think I'll go with this. Still pretty awful, but I do have a small lead at this point, so I'm not in dire straits yet. Vom is good. That's one of the new three-letter words that's come in. Can't see anywhere to play that. Phi takes nothing in front of it or after. My opponent changes. Now, I have quite a nice play. I have Gizmo, which plays in column 12, and Po. And that sorts the rack out quite well. VY isn't a great keep, but none of the tiles in this rack were particularly great. 38 points is a good score. I am inviting my opponent to score well with the Z next go, so what is better than this? This scores 38. I could play Gizmo in row J, but that doesn't protect the Z either. Well, I can't see anything. Wow, that's pretty good. Suddenly this rack is looking vaguely bingo-y. So I'll be looking to play off the V and the Y, and it would be nice to sort out the vowel consonant imbalance, and that might be tricky, because a play of Ivy would leave 3 vowels into consonant. Now my Y can go underneath the K, so I could play Ivy and KY. XO is good. I certainly do want to play off the V and the Y. Neither is bingo-y, and I've got the S. That's 34 points. Ah, what about, well, the same tiles, but Visey up here. 51 points, much better. That was the risk of retaining a vowel-heavy rack leave. I've now got way too many vowels and no scoring tiles. I do have a 70-point lead. Now, AIA is good. Great, my opponent changes. AIA would chuck back exactly what I picked up. It would retain a vowel-heavy rack leave, but if I draw consonants, I could be in good shape. So I could play AIA and KA, or I could play AIGA in row C for 10 points. Well, 13 for the lower placement. Aya takes an R in front, 13 points. More vowels. This could presage consonant-heavy racks later in the game, and it's possible, given that my opponent has changed twice, that he has been plagued with consonants at this stage. We'll find out later. Great, my opponent is keeping the board blocked, which is fine since I'm 60 points ahead. Now, my immediate thought is to play AUA, but that would retain duplicate O. So, can I do something better? I could play over in column 10, but I really would like to play off 3 of my vowels. IO takes an S, but I won't get enough points to justify burning the S this go. R takes an A after it, so I could play AUA in row L. This doesn't give too much away. If I draw another O, I'll have a pretty grim rack. But I think this is better than changing. It's 18 points, and with the right pickup, I could have a bingo. I do draw another O, but it could have been a lot worse. And now if I play something like Boo, or if I play Boo, I'll have a decent rack leave. Or Oboe. So where can I play any of those? I note that double A takes an L after it, so I could play Lou in column 13. Or Lobo. What I'm going to struggle to do with this rack is score 24 points for my opponent. Still both blanks out there. Now what about the G of Gizmo? Well, I'm looking at playing Boo at A13 down. It feels pretty reckless, in the sense that it doesn't score a great deal and it provides a very easy spot for my opponent to score just with a non-bingo using the B and the triple word square, and he could easily get 40 or 50 points, which I don't want to happen. Gobo is even worse for similar reasons. It would be nice to place my B on the double letter square here and play through the G. And I can only see a way of doing that by playing blogs, which isn't good because it retains two O's. Now I could play Bool in column 13, making lob, but again I'm opening up an easy triple column. There must be a good move here. I'm looking at the V to see if I can play in column 10 onto it, and I can't see a way of doing that. Still loads of E's left. Tau only takes an S. Jags hasn't provided very much at all. KY takes an E after it. That doesn't really help me. Ah, well, this is not great in the sense that the score's dismal, but it's not opening very much up for my opponent, and the rack leave is balanced, and although I was looking to play off the B, it's not a disastrous tile, and it pretty much guarantees me options next go of scoring above 20. Now I draw the V, which doesn't go well with the B. X doesn't take anything after it. L and V take various vowels between them, an A and an E and a U. So row D is a bingo lane for bingos ending in E. Logo takes an N after it. This is a tight board. You can see it's fairly laddery from across the diagonal top right to bottom left. So not many scoring opportunities. 34 points for my opponent, and he opens up a hot spot in column 8. Can I use that U to score, especially with the B or the V? Well, I could play Vauduns for 30 points, but that burns the S. And it doesn't place either of my high-scoring tiles on the double letter square. So I could play Bund, keeping the V. That might be worth doing. Although normally it's good to get rid of the V. One of them has already gone, and on a tight board it does have the property of being a scoring tile. And 30 points is a good score. Again, another non-bingo-y rack. I'm 50 or 60 points behind, so if my opponent bingos, we're going to be neck and neck, or I'm going to be slightly behind. But I'm fortunate with these racks that my opponent is behind and not ahead, otherwise it would be really frustrating. There are bingo lanes on this board. There's the D of Bund as a floater, and there's row D for bingos ending in an E, and row B where my opponent has just played, where he's just bingoed and taken the lead by 10 points. Now I'm looking in row A to see if I've got a 5-letter play, placing my V or my H on the double letter square at A4. And I can't see such a play. But I could play ovule there for 29 points. It's good to get rid of the V and the U. And retaining the H is good for score next go. And these floaters, OV and U, are not particularly dangerous. Am I missing a higher scoring opportunity in this spot? Well, I can't see one. 29 tiles left and only 6 minutes on my clock, so I need to pick the pace up. Great, I draw the blank. This looks pretty balanced. Do I have a bingo? I'm wondering about hard bags. That might be good in row O. I think I'll try that if I see nothing else, and that might even be a new word. I don't know. But it rings a bell, so I feel that I've seen it recently. And beg hards is good as well. But hard bags places the H on this double letter square. So I think I have a playable bingo in hard bags. But it's not going to score very much. It won't get doubled or tripled. Do I have anything beginning with the O or V of ovule? Can't see anything with the O. Can't see anything with the V. So, given that I'm short on time, I think I'll play this now. Actually, Beghards wouldn't play. I think this is fractionally better. It'll be particularly annoying if this comes off. 65 points. Great, I have tranted, if that's good. I'm just looking at OV and U for possible bingos. I don't think unratted is good, or I'm fairly confident it is not good. I can't see anything beginning with the O, and I don't think there are any other bingo lanes to consider. Which is good. If this stays on, the board will be quite tight. And my opponent has challenged. The word is good. He loses 5 points. Fantastic. Now, through an E, I would have nattered and rattened. My opponent may open the board up since he's behind. Aha. Fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted. Nattered. I think this is better than rattened because the N is less useful than less bingo-y than the R, and column 1 is now a bingo lane, I think. Yes, it is. Nattered 74. Wow, another good rack. Having been through so many hopelessly non-bingo racks, suddenly I'm getting a good run. Only 6 tiles in the bag, and a blank is unseen, so either in the bag or on my opponent's rack. I don't have a 7 with this rack that I can see. The A of nattered is not available as a floater for an 8. I can't see anything with the N of nattered in second place. There are the 2-letter pairs O and N, VA and UT to consider in columns 1, 2 and 3. Wow, pretty good. I think that's good, and I'm sufficiently far ahead that I can challenge. Yep, that's fine. Now, 6 tiles left. I can see what they are. These are on my opponent's rack. Only 1 vowel, some good scoring tiles, but he's not going to catch up 60 points. I've got a scoring tile in the A. I'm just looking at to see if my opponent's provided any floaters. He's provided the L. That doesn't help me. So, how can I score with my M? And really, I should be looking to go out in 2 to minimise what my opponent does. So what about row N, placing my M above the A of hard bags? I could play Rem, keeping lint. Okay, well, E-lint is good, and lint and log-on is good, so I think I'll take that. I haven't got an awful lot of time, and this will guarantee the win. So at the moment I've seen E-lint in column 5 for 10 points and lint in column 14 for 14. So 14 to beat. Lint is the only 4-letter word with this rack. $22 points for my opponent, and he's provided another spot for lint, and I think this is going to score more. But I have a slight doubt about loun. It might just be spelt as a 5-letter word with an E on the end, so I'll play it up here. And my opponent ends the game. So, the final score, 353 to my opponent, 443 to me, a winning margin of 90 points. So, pretty exciting game. Grimracks in the beginning, which then matured or just changed in front of my eyes into a run of bingo-y racks. So, let's see what I missed. It was me to go first. And I think Infula was the play. I didn't spot that. I didn't like final because it kept the U, but actually the N goes quite well with the U, so possibly final should have been given more consideration. But short words have a lot of merit at the beginning. My opponent's rack. He played diff. Ooh, look at that. Panelling was good. B9. Ah, through the N, making G. So well done if you spotted that. I missed it. I played Pineal for 32, which looks okay amongst the also ran moves. My opponent's rack. He plays Tau, and this is the start of my run of very non-bingo-y racks. I didn't play Zonk. The rack leave is awful, and I didn't see it, which is probably more pertinent. I think I played Kai for 25, and the rack leave is okay. Horrible rack for my opponent. Was this when he changed? It is. And this is me. And I thought about Gizmo, then went for Ivy, and finally chose Visey, and Visey is best. No, I didn't. I played Gizmo for 38. Well, Visey, J3 would have been better. Now my opponent plays X, and now I do spot Visey and score 51. My opponent's rack, awful. He changes. And my rack, awful, but not bad enough to change. Fundies for 30, though, is not the play, retaining 6 vowels. AIA for 13 is certainly better. My opponent's rack, he plays Ho. And then I played... Now, did I play AUA? Yes, I did, and that looks fine. And note that AUAS is now good. That's one of the new words that's come in September 2015. Now, 24 points for my opponent. And this was a really frustrating rack. I struggled to find anything good here. I ended up going with logo, which doesn't even make it onto this list, but look at the scores down here. They're all pretty poor. And these ones which look okay, 16 for Boo, keeping Elos. Well, it's just opening up triple word squares, so logo is comparable to these. One possibility, though, is Lesbo for 31, I13. Down here, that's worth considering. 31 points is a lot. It's certainly a lot more than the 10 I got for logo. Now, this was my opponent's rack. He's got Quinies, and he can play it. He could play that in row B. He didn't. He played Quins for 34, and this was my rack. I thought about Voduns for 36, and then went for Bund for 30. The S is worth about 8 points, so I think Bund is better. My opponent's rack, he does now bingo. He played Recited, but he did have Directed, beginning with the D of Bund. So quite a big difference there. He played Recited. This was my rack. Wow, look at that. Shove was available for 47. I didn't see that. What did I play? I played Ovule for 29. Okay, well, I think that's a little bit worse. 18 points worse than Shove. But I am burning the S, so might be 6 or 7 points in it. My opponent's rack, he has Co-Redeem at 04. Again through the D, very difficult to spot. Well done if you saw that. He played O, and now I had Hard Bags. And, wow, that was the only bingo. So I still don't know if that's a new word or not. But anyway, delighted to have spotted it. My opponent's rack, he doesn't have a bingo. He plays C, and that's exactly what I wanted to give me nattered or rattened. And there is a third anagram, a tender, which I didn't see. And tranted was good if it was playable as a bingo, and it wasn't. So nattered looks fine. My opponent's rack, he has 9 letter plays through V and A in column 2, and he played encloser for 77, which is fine. This was my rack. Rem for 25. I didn't spend a great deal of time thinking about this, but it did what it needed to do. It gave me outs. It scored well and gave me outs in 2 spots. My opponent plays WAP. And then finally, Lint at J14. Yep, Lown was good. And I went for Lint at A14 for 1 fewer point, just to be absolutely sure. And that was the end of the game. So, a good winning margin in the end, and a great bunch of racks to consider. It's obviously it's good to get bingos, but it's also good to consider the non-bingo racks, because they will constitute most of the racks that you have. And I think my racks were interesting because the non-bingo racks tended to have a mixture of vowels and consonants, so it wasn't really dealing with massive vowel consonant imbalances. It was really a case of having a couple of vowels and a bunch of high-scoring consonants and trying to work out what to do with them. So it was nice to have the opportunity to work through racks of that ilk. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching that video and got something out of it. My name is DWEEB, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.